Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on a pretty common topic, actually, smoking. We're
Mhm.
going to unpack how we talk about it, day to day, focusing on the words, the phrases, around habits, health, personal choices.
Right.
Think of this as, well, your shortcut to feeling more confident and clear when these kinds of discussions pop up.
Exactly. And our aim here is really to give you the essential vocabulary, the common expressions you actually need.
Okay.
We're drawing from an English lesson podcast script for this one, which gives a really practical angle on how these conversations tend to go.
Okay, so let's jump right in then. Some basic vocabulary first. Obviously, we hear the word smoker quite a bit.
Sure.
It's simply, well, someone who regularly smokes. You might hear, like,
Yeah.
he's been a smoker since he was a teenager. Pretty straightforward, right?
It is, yeah, but it's sort of the starting point. And from there, we get into things like secondhand smoke.
Ah, yeah.
Now, this one's crucial because it's not about the person who's, actively lighting up. It's the smoke they produce.
Right, the smoke others breathe in.
Exactly. And the example, secondhand smoke is dangerous for children, really highlights that impact on others,
Yeah.
especially vulnerable groups.
Very important distinction. Then there's maybe a more hopeful phrase, quit smoking.
Mhm.
Means stopping entirely, obviously. You'll often hear something like, I'm trying to quit smoking this year. It signals that intention, that desire for change.
And a key term, really, that underpins the difficulty of that change is nicotine.
Ah,
That's the addictive stuff in cigarettes, the chemical. The example, nicotine makes it hard to quit smoking. Well, it gets right to the core of why it's such a tough habit to break.
okay.
So understanding these few terms gives us the basic tools, to follow pretty much any conversation about smoking.
Right. Got it. So we've got some core words down. Now let's look at how this actually plays out when people talk. Imagine, say, two friends chatting, and the topic of quitting smoking comes up.
Yeah, this kind of scenario is great because it gives a real-world feel for how these terms get used and introduces some of the common themes, the challenges people face.
So you might hear one friend start, maybe a bit tentatively, hey, I've been thinking about quitting smoking. It's a pretty common opener for that, isn't it?
It really is. And the other friend might respond supportively, like, "Oh, really? That's great. What made you decide?"
And the reasons given, they're often quite personal, quite relatable, I find.
Definitely. Like, "Well, I've been feeling pretty tired lately, and I really want to get healthier."
Yeah, those are strong motivators, aren't they? Feeling better day to day, but also thinking, longer term, your well-being.
Exactly. But then the first friend often brings up that common stumbling block.
The reality check.
Right. Yeah, I know I should. Thing is, I tried to quit before, but I always end up going back to it.
Mhm.
That experience, the relapse, it's just such a big part of the story for so many trying to quit.
It really is. And the second friend maybe offers some practical suggestions, some support,
hmm Saying something like, have you thought about maybe joining a support group? Or trying nicotine patches? I've heard those can help sometimes.
highlighting those resources, the strategies that are actually out there.
Yeah. And the first friend might end on a more hopeful note, perhaps.
Hopefully. Something like, good idea. Yeah, maybe I will check it out. I really want to quit for good this time.
Ah, that phrase for good.
Yeah, it really underscores that desire for a lasting change, doesn't it? Not just temporary.
It absolutely does. Now, if we dig a little deeper into some of the language just in that exchange, take that opening line, I've been thinking about quitting. It's quite a, well, nuanced way to bring it up.
Absolutely. It feels less direct, maybe more considerate than just saying, I am quitting, which sounds very final. Thinking about it leaves a bit more room, maybe feels less, I don't know, confrontational.
Exactly. It kind of tests the waters a bit. And then the reason given, I want to get healthier, that's just such a universal, powerful motivator, isn't it?
Totally. It's something everyone can understand, relate to, whether they smoke or not.
And the response, I'll check it out, when they hear about support groups or patches.
Yeah, what about that?
Well, it's a sort of casual but still positive way of saying, I'll look into that. Or maybe I'm open to giving that a try.
Right. It shows they're willing to explore options without, like, making a rock solid promise right then and there.
Precisely. So moving beyond just that specific chat, there are other really useful expressions that pop up all the time when smoking is discussed in, different situations.
Okay, like what?
Well, think about situations where someone might need to ask permission first.
Ah, okay. Right. You might hear the question, do you mind if I smoke? It's the polite way to ask, isn't it?
Hmm.
Especially in shared spaces or, around non-smokers, shows consideration.
Definitely. And then on the flip side, you might just encounter the statement, this is a smoke-free area.
Right. No ambiguity there.
None at all. It clearly states a rule, a policy. Smoking isn't allowed here. It's direct, but, necessary sometimes.
Makes sense. What about talking about past habits?
Ah, good one. You could use a phrase like, he used to smoke, but he quit last year.
Simple, clear.
Yeah, straightforward. Indicates that change in status, and often, it implies it was a positive achievement.
Right. And for people who aren't quite quitting yet but are trying to reduce.
You might hear, I'm trying to cut down. This clearly signals that effort to, reduce how much they're smoking, even if they haven't stopped completely yet.
Acknowledges the effort, the process.
Exactly. It shows they're working on it. And finally, maybe when offering support or information, someone might say.
Like the friend in the dialogue earlier?
Sort of, yeah, but maybe more generally. There are support programs out there to help you quit, pointing towards available resources, letting the person know help is accessible if they're not alone in it.
Yeah, what's interesting is how all these different phrases let us navigate what can be, a sensitive topic with different levels of politeness or directness.
Absolutely. And whether you currently smoke or you don't, or perhaps you're considering quitting,
Yeah.
just having this understanding of the vocabulary and these common phrases, it's actually incredibly valuable.
Yeah, I can see that.
It really does pave the way for clearer conversations and more respectful ones, too, in all sorts of situations.
So just to kind of wrap up the key things, understanding that core vocabulary words like smoker, secondhand smoke, quit smoking, nicotine, that gives you a really solid base.
Definitely. Yeah, a foundation.
Yeah, a foundation for following and, taking part in these discussions.
And when you could combine that foundation with recognizing these common ways people talk about it, like in the quitting dialogue we discussed,
Right.
and knowing these useful expressions for different contexts, you're just much better prepared, really, to engage effectively, maybe feel a bit more confident doing it. Exactly. Ultimately, whether you're right in the middle of the conversation or maybe just overhearing it, this deeper understanding allows for clearer communication and maybe a greater appreciation for the different viewpoints and experiences involved.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which actually leads to an interesting thought for you, the listener, to maybe ponder. Beyond just smoking, what other personal health habits or lifestyle choices require this same kind of careful, maybe nuanced communication when we talk about them socially?
That's a good question.
How does the specific language we choose actually shape those interactions and maybe even our understanding of each other?
Definitely something to think about. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
Our pleasure.
We'll catch you next time.